Nick Timothy.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I want to remind the Foreign Secretary that the government that invited Huawei into our telecommunications network was actually the last Labour government between 2003 and 2006.
Long memories.
He's tried to be partisan about it. The ebb and flow of these issues and the mistakes go back quite a long time, and he should acknowledge that.
Now look, Nick Timothy says something, Lammy responds with something else, but there's still no answer. It's the same old story. Before moving on to the clip, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
And will he rule out any Chinese involvement in our energy infrastructure?
I'm really going to take no lectures from the Honourable Gentleman, whose advice to former Prime Minister May led to the possibility of nuclear information being revealed. He should be embarrassed, and I'm surprised he came to this debate this afternoon.
You need to withdraw.
Neil, shut
You
your
need to
mouth.
withdraw. Thank you very much.
Point of order, Nick Timothy.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. We've all grown used to the fact that we don't get answers in this House, so perhaps you could give us advice about whether ministers are ever actually going to answer a question. But then he decides to abuse me and insult me personally about advice he claims I gave to the Prime Minister in a former role I had. He has no idea what advice I gave in that job. And if he cares so much about my personal history, he would actually read all the things I've ever written about the role of Chinese companies in our energy infrastructure. So I'd like him to take the opportunity to withdraw that accusation.
Madam Deputy Speaker, it is a matter of record that former Prime Minister May was considering matters that pertain to our nuclear capability. The Honourable Member was an advisor at that stage, and she had to withdraw her recommendations on the China General Nuclear Company. That is a matter of record, and anyone in this chamber can Google it.
Now pay attention, Timothy stands up and says, it was the Labour government that let Huawei in. And he's right. But what does Lammy do? He shifts the subject and launches into a personal attack, saying, you said this to May back then, you said that. The issue right now is China's role in our energy infrastructure, our security, our independence. But no, this petty squabbling in British politics, it's like watching a fight in a pub. The funny thing is Lammy saying, Google it. Seriously, are we going to debate foreign policy with a Google search? If there's a crisis with China tomorrow, will the government sit around looking at YouTube comments? Friends, I ask you, are we going to hand over the future of this country to an opposition of this caliber? Write your comments. I want to know what you think. The real issue is this. Neither Timothy can get a proper answer, nor can Lammy clearly articulate the issue. While these guys are blaming each other, Chinese companies are still embedded in our infrastructure. Remember, Starmer was giving speeches just last year saying, we will reduce strategic dependencies. Well, where is that? We are still dependent on Chinese panels, Chinese investments. They tell us the green energy fairy tale, but we are the ones paying the bill. Watching this debate, I feel like the country is stuck in a big theatre. Timothy is a bit angry, but asking valid questions. Lammy, on the other hand, resorts to personal attacks instead of answering. I ask you, do you think there's a real strategy behind this, or is it just damage control? If you've watched this far, don't forget to like and subscribe, friends.